these time travelers or people who dabble with the time, the ones that are messing?
Not time travelers.
They mess with the time? Extraterrestrials. Are any of these extraterrestrials doing anything to cause this Mandela Effect, where one moment you're thinking one thing has happened and another moment something else has happened?
They twist the timelines. CERN.
Okay, the Mandela Effect. Some of you guys, maybe even most of you guys who are watching this will know what I'm talking about. Hopefully I'll present some information that you didn't otherwise know. But put simply, the Mandela Effect represents the belief that the past has changed, with many articles showing discrepancies between how people remember an event and the way it was supposed to have happened. And I've looked at some of this, and it seems kind of creepy, kind of freaky. It got started when supposedly a bunch of reporters remembered Nelson Mandela dying in prison, when in reality he died much later. So apparently there was this symposium, conference, what have you, with a bunch of reporters, and probably about half the reporters in the room could all swear that Nelson Mandela died in prison. And then the rest of them remembered that he died after he got out of prison, which is in fact the case. But anyway, I'm gonna present some examples and I'll discuss them. But let's look at some theories for how this phenomenon supposedly evolved. One theory for the basis for the Mandela Effect originates from quantum physics and relates to the idea that rather than one timeline of events, alternate realities or universes may be taking place and mixing with our timeline. In theory, this would result in groups of people having the same memories because the timeline has been altered as we shift between these different realities. And by groups of people, they would mean like the groups of people in that symposium of reporters, different groups within the same reality. Personally, I wish my timeline could bleed in with another timeline where I'm not a pathetic loser. But anyway, that's one theory about what the Mandela Effect represents. Then there's another one. False memories are misremembered, distorted, or fabricated recollections of past events. And I think fabricated is the key word there, and we'll talk about that. Such memories can be trivial, such as mistakenly remembering where you put your car keys. But they can also be much more serious, like when they result in an innocent person being accused of a crime they didn't commit. Having false memories is common, with 1 in 3 people incorrectly remembering past experiences. And then, if you want to go off down the rabbit hole for conspiracy time, there was a guy named Joylin West, an MKUltra doctor, who claimed to have invented a technique where he could implant false memories into people's minds. And if you think that maybe that might be transpiring, via the computer screen or the cell phone waves or what have you, that's a remote possibility. Or not. And we'll continue. One example you see in almost all the articles and videos about the Mandela Effect is the apparent discrepancy in the spelling of the Berenstain Bears cartoon characters. Some remember it's being Berenstain, like stain, and others remember it's being Berenstein. However, after doing a little research, it appears that the two spellings existed parallel and contemporaneously toward one another. And there are a couple of cartoons I found with the alternate spellings, both existing within the same time frame, and there are a couple of videos there showing the divergent spellings existing on two different videotapes put out, within the same time frame. So I think that kind of debunks that one, even though you'll see that in every article and video about the Mandela Effect.
Well, it's Rick and Morty time.
And here's another one that I discovered about Sinbad. It said that Sinbad never appeared in a movie called Shazam. Now, I distinctly remembered that movie. I never saw it, and I thought it was going to be kind of silly, but you know, I looked around and I found proof that he really did do a movie called Shazam, and I'll show it to you right here.
Oh, man, it feels good to get out that thing. Oh, kind of cramped up in there. Should have took you long enough, Tina. Wait. Y'all not Tina.
Well, there he is, Sinbad in the movie Shazam right there. So this is either a debunk on the whole thing, or maybe it's proof that the Mandela Effect exists. Maybe the people who wrote the article in their timeline didn't have Sinbad doing that movie. But personally, I'm more inclined to accept the fabrication. Except that it's fabricated. But at any rate, there's Sinbad, and there are several articles saying that Sinbad never did a movie like that. Now, here's an example from the movie Moonraker, and I remember watching this. And when they showed this woman not having braces, it really flipped me out because I distinctly remembered that she did have braces. See, this guy over here with the metal in his mouth, metal mouth over there, he was called Jaws, and he was, you know, the James Bond super assassin in that movie, and he was killing people, and he was always, you know, biting them with his jaws. And, you know, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this girl comes along and she smiles, and she's got just as much metal in her mouth as he did. And so he fell in love with her immediately. Now, the metal in the mouth was the whole point of their falling in love. And yet, you will see today people touting as evidence of the Mandela Effect the fact that she doesn't have braces. And that really flipped me out at first. But I did a little digging for this video, and I found one article that says that they went in ex post facto and took the braces out of her mouth somehow. This was back before digital. I don't know how they did that. Probably airbrushed them out on the 70 millimeter film, and because it made her look too much like a child with the obvious pedophilic implications. And so they went in ex post facto and they airbrushed out the braces in her teeth. So if you accept that alternate explanation, that would really kind of settle that. I mean, that really didn't change. That's the way it really happened. Earlier versions had the braces, but then later versions didn't because of perv allegations. Okay, those were the debunks. Those are the ones that I felt like could legitimately be shown to be innocuous. Okay, now let's look at some that I don't think are that innocuous. Okay, here's the Monopoly guy with his monocle. Now, I've been looking at that guy all my life, that greedy little bastard, and he always had a monocle. I distinctly remember his having a monocle, and yet they say that he never did have a monocle, and there's the little son of a bitch there without his monocle. And I thought, well, you know, so I went back and looked up some pictures of some vintage Monopoly sets that were like 100 years old, and sure as shit, he didn't have a monocle. He didn't have a monocle. You know, this is creepy. This is legitimately creepy because I distinctly remember that monocle on that guy's face. It's another one that creeped me out because all my life I remember the Fruit of the Loom logo having that horn on it. I remember that distinctly. and yet they say that it never did. And I even looked it up on Snopes, and Snopes said that it never did. And yet, by God, I remember that horn on the Fruit of the Loom ensign. That, that's just kind of creepy. And then here's C-3PO. And they're saying that he always had a silver leg. And, I've watched Star Wars a million times, and I never noticed a silver leg at all. Of course, that's not to say that I couldn't have missed it. There's an album by Fleetwood Mac called Rumors that shows two little dingly balls hanging down between this guy's leg. And I looked at that album cover a million times as a kid and throughout my life, and I never noticed them. I never noticed those little dingly balls hanging down until just recently. So I suppose it's possible that I just didn't notice it. However, I don't remember ever seeing that. And I think I might have noticed. And this is another creepy one too, because I distinctly remember those sunglasses. But I'll read it. If you've ever seen someone dress up as Tom Cruise from Risky Business, they most likely were wearing some cool shades. Fans often remember him rocking sunglasses in that iconic dance scene, but he didn't. Just socks, a button-up shirt, and a whole lot of confidence. That said, he is wearing the iconic shades in the movie poster. So anyway, evidently somebody's done some changing. Or it's the Mandela Effect. Now, here's the Matrix quote. What if I told you? That line supposedly doesn't exist, even though I seem to remember it. I certainly think I did. I do. Fans of the franchise remember Lawrence Fishburne, who played Morpheus, explaining the Matrix to Keanu Reeves' character Neo by starting his monologue off with, "What if I told you?" The line picked up so much traction it became a viral meme. But, as it turns out, the quote was never spoken. Talk about a glitch in the Matrix. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that is the Mandela Effect. We're living in a simulated world, and we've got some sadistic jerkwads who are up there changing the past around just to mess with us and cause us to make stupid videos about the Mandela Effect. But anyway, he supposedly didn't say that. Now, this one might legitimately be a false memory on my part, but I've been looking at old Uncle Sam there since 1959, and, I never remember his having a white hat like that. I've always remembered it as having stripes. But nonetheless, there it is, and I looked around and looked at some really old posters representing Uncle Sam, and in all of them, he had a white hat. So, either I'm wrong or it's the Mandela Effect.
Wait till she finds out Richard Simmons never wore a headband. Stop. What do you think they did? Went through the whole internet and scrubbed every photo of Richard Simmons ever wearing a headband? That's crazy. I don't even know what to say anymore. I don't know what to say. Okay, but what if we Google people who have dressed up like Richard Simmons for Halloween? What if we try to buy a Richard Simmons costume now? What? Why are they rewriting our history?
Here's the one that really got me, that really piqued my interest in regards to this phenomenon, this so-called supposed phenomenon. Isaiah 11:6. Everybody talks about the lion laying down with the lamb, and I could swear that I read that as a kid, because I certainly read the Bible a lot when I was a kid. I had to. I had to. Isaiah 11:6 or Isaiah 65:25, and I'm not going to read them for brevity's sake, but it doesn't say the lion will lay down with the lamb. It says some other stuff. The same message, the same gist, but it doesn't say lion will lay down with the lamb. That's what first piqued my interest, and that kind of freaks me out a little bit too. Personally, I think somebody's just messing with people. The powers that be, they're just trying to screw with people to make people doubt their reality, to create angst, either by planting bogus articles that say things that say that things have changed when they really haven't, as I've shown you, or going back and doctoring previous books and movies and what have you to change them from what they originally were. That being said, though, I doubt anybody could go back and doctor Isaiah 11:6 or Risky Business, or because I've actually watched Risky Business and the glasses aren't there now. Maybe they were changed like they did with the Jaws. But at any rate, you be the judge. I kind of think it's a nothing burger myself. I think that it's just somebody messing with people to try to make us all doubt our collective reality. I don't think it's CERN causing the realities to bleed over into one another. Although, I suppose that's possible. But no, I don't know.